This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sara Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sara.
Welcome, everyone, to our Visionary Psychics interviews, where we're working with just some of the incredibly gifted people that I've had the great pleasure of working with over the years. And today we have with us John Benson. And so John, I think we wanted to talk to you a little bit about this idea of you've been a therapist or counselor for many years, a long time. And then you also have this psychic side, this very deep ability to go into the other realms and bring that information forward. And I'm just curious as to how that's worked for you or how you navigate those two worlds.
Yeah, well, it's becoming less and less a challenge as I've gotten sort of comfortable in it. But I would say what I experienced throughout my life, but especially in counseling, is an intuition, an intuitiveness towards what was going on. So in a lot of ways, it was kind of like a unidentified psychic ability. Clients would be kind of like stunned when I was just sort of going and I was just sort of painting this picture of what their life is like. And they would be like, yeah, that's exactly what it's like. It really wasn't until a few years ago when we started working that it moved out of the sort of like unconscious intuitive sense into a more developed skill. And
yeah, it's like it was there for you the whole time, but then you get a few little language words or explanation of the process, and then it suddenly lays out like a bunch of dominoes suddenly going all at once. It made sense to you in a different way.
Yeah, a lot like that. Especially when we first started getting in touch with our guides, and they had a lot to say and a lot for me to do, and so it was a lot of unfolding that was taking place, and but a lot of that is settled down to the point where I have a sense of how I like to work with individuals.
Talk a little bit about that, and I think other people listening, some of them have had that excitement of almost like learning your soul mission from the guides, and just suddenly having that come in and kind of clarify your whole life, and then also maybe the excitement and then the daunting nature of how do I do that? How do I do my soul mission? What's that like for you?
Yeah, well, yes, it can feel daunting, but at some point I had taken an approach of, and I think I've mentioned before about, surfing. It's like I'm riding this wave. So it's not so much I'm waiting for this direction. I'm kind of following this energy and trying to move with it. And I don't always know exactly why something's going in this direction or that direction. At times with working with clients, I'll get information before they've even called me, and I'm like shocked. I'm like, but I'm getting less shocked because I'm getting more used to the fact that this information is always there, and this isn't accidental. We come into relationship with those people we need to be in relationship with, I believe, at specific times and in those moments. For me, because of that openness and sensitivity, stuff starts coming in. I won't know exactly who it's for or what it's for, but eventually it all starts to make sense and have its place.
Yeah. Do you find so in working with like my own, and I've said this a lot, but my own primary gifts are in clairvoyance and channeling. And other people that I've had the privilege of working with, like yourself, have, everybody's got sort of their unique gifts. To me, I always come back to your ability to see past life so clearly. Is that something you consider as, or what do you consider as your easiest, or I don't know how to, like the things that work for you without even thinking about it, it just happens.
Well, and that's sort of how it it feels like the gift that's needed at the moment is what presents itself. So I don't feel highly structured in that sense. So past lives can come up if they need to come up. I mean, I found in my own life that the past lives that come up are ones that are important and informing to this lifetime. So it's not just a tour of the past. There's reasons, there's reasons now for that information to start coming forward, and the timing of it is that divine timing. So with one person that might be central, for another person it may be less so, and it may be that they have a relative on the other side who's desperate to be involved, and usually you're getting their guides involved, and uh, uh, and and for me, the whole goal isn't just to quote unquote do a reading. It's to bring information that's useful for the client at that moment in time for them, and probably for them as well as for me. Not sure why this is coming up, but that doesn't mean that it's not the right message for the moment.
I know it's funny. I always, in doing a reading, I always think like I'm the one benefiting. I'm happy. I hope to assist the client, but I'm learning so much from everyone there. So, or whoever I'm working with, and I'm sure you find that too. It's remarkable. When you so say you're in a session with someone,
Mhm.
just what does the information feel like when it comes in, or where does it come in, or yeah, like I talk about that being the tube. That's how
Mhm.
I kind of, and I'm going with my ear, I kind of feel it that way. But how do you feel it or sense it or
Um,
know it?
it I don't know, depends on the information.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's just sort of like presenting itself in my mind. I through years of meditation and such, uh, I I know how to sit with a very sort of quiet and open mind. So I'm not thinking about the client and what's going on. I'm taking it in, but I'm also down, receiving information, and uh, as you teach, and I find it very useful, is prior to the session, getting a guiding vision of some sort, and as you know, I incorporate tarot and other cards and other information systems as I feel led. So for me, the whole experience is one of, okay, what do you want me to do? And
Yeah.
I'm just receiving what's coming in. Uh, but if you want some, a map, so to speak, I often feel like relatives and people from the other side over here. My guides are more like over here. And if I'm seeing past lives, it's like right in front of my face.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. So that's almost like a way that your guidance sorts itself so you can quickly say, oh, it's over here, must be past life. I can't remember which way, or past life,
Right here,
you can kind of, because yeah, the information comes in pretty quickly and it's pretty subtle. So more shortcuts we can have as to where we're locating it, that's really useful to
Yeah,
people.
and I trust my guides and my clients' guides to provide me what I need. So I'm not sitting there feeling frustrated if a past life doesn't come to me, because
Right.
that's not my goal. My goal isn't to do a past life reading, unless if that's what somebody wants. We can certainly do that. I've found that whether it's with their face or with a picture, the information flows from that pretty freely for me.
Yeah.
And
When you talk about, so when I am doing readings, it used to be I would receive other people's guides. And now that isn't happening in the same way. And I guess, what's that like? Do your guides work with their guides? Do you work with their guides and then you work with your guides? Or how do you navigate that?
my experience is that they are presenting themselves separately and apart from my own guides. So I have that familiarity. I know what my guides feel like, and how they how they present information to me. And so my experience with a client's guides is that uh, it's more by invitation. I open up myself to them. They don't just barge in. But
Right.
I'm with someone that they're working with, and then or soul that they're working with, and so I allow myself to be open to them, and they don't always have any something to say, or it may not be anything more than an image of what they what they hope for and wish for their for their soul that they're responsible for. And and so in that moment, it's like it, it's not like with uh, relatives and people on the other side. They seem to are very like wanting to jump in, and I have to kind of say, okay, hold on a minute. But
Yeah.
um and the
Yeah,
energy is completely different.
they're more persistent, or the departed are more persistent or eager, or not as relaxed. They don't understand yet, or I don't know who doesn't understand, but the guides are more patient with time, because they're like, we have all the time we need. They're departed are like, let me in now. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can be quite persistent, and it it all adds, I find, with the guiding visions, and the work I do before a session, that it's all complementary. There aren't like competing information flows. It all kind of works towards a message, an understanding that is looking to be brought forward at this point in time.
Yeah.
And which is great, because I really don't want to be a mediator for different.
Right. Yeah. Well, and do you find like, what is your hope, like a successful reading, like what to you would that be? Like, what would be not even accomplished, but what would happen for the client in that idea?
Yeah, I uh, early on it used to be a bit more outcome oriented, but now it's really about process.
Yeah.
And as long as it feels like the process is good and clean, because
Yeah.
I've myself, when I've had readings, uh, I had this one reading by a gentleman, and it had been recorded, and I didn't know. I mean, could hear what he was saying, but I couldn't really relate to what he was saying. It was like 5 years later that I felt compelled to go back and listen to it, and then it was like, and it's like,
Now I get it.
so
Yeah.
so I've accepted the fact that this isn't for my ego gratification. So I don't need the stroke, so to speak. But my hope is that that there's something that the individual can take away that has meaning for them and addresses either a expressed or felt or unconscious need of theirs for guidance and direction. And our goal, I believe, we would love that everybody could just be in touch with their guides for themselves and get this information for themselves, but not everybody is at that place. And this is a very efficient and effective alternative. Is finding people that can be that intermediary between, because it's not about, that's the thing that I think can be really challenging, is we can get our own thoughts about what someone should do or what someone should be focusing on. It's like, it's not about me. It's not about what I think. And I learned that from counseling, because I first started with this thought that I have to be the guru. I have to be the one who has all the answers. And it's like, no, my real job is to help somebody else come to the realizations that they want and they need, not directed or scripted or manipulated by me.
Absolutely.
So that's my focus on process.
Yeah. Well, John, this has just been a delight to speak with you. John's one of our visionary psychics, and I'll provide that information in the link. But thank you so much, and
Thank you.
look forward to another time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.